Peace. This is Star with the Star Blooms. Um, this morning when I woke up, I kept on hearing the song from the Prince of Egypt, "When You Believe," and I never actually took the second to listen to the song. I just wrote it down. I knew that there was a message there, and I've been with it all day, and it just keeps on coming back to me. And it wasn't until like an hour ago that I actually allowed myself to sit and actually listen to it. And I had another message that I had channeled the day before that, where I was basically speaking to a rate of it's just the journey of it all. And the many channels that we'll basically come to interface with on our journey, and how we get to basically, I don't know why I was going to say transpond. Is that a word? Give me a second, y'all. Transpond. Is that a word? I don't know if it's a word. I hope this don't take up too much time. 1 second, y'all. Transpond. I think it's a word, y'all. So transponder, in the context in which I was saying it. It's like a radar basically being set for us to basically be able to start to initiate and integrate certain rates of ourselves. Thank you, Spirit. So they'll give it to you if you ask. But I wanted to basically be at a rate of authenticity in it, because that's what it was about. I made what I thought Spirit was trying to say to me earlier this morning very, very surface level. I was basically at a rate like, oh, believe in miracles. I do believe, when you believe. That's what I was basically sitting with it at. And then I was like, no, it means more. It's the journey of faith, and how sometimes it could be quiet. But there's a lot of different rates that come with it. So I've basically been looking at the light and the dark aspects of it. I want to say this first, not necessarily negative or not necessarily positive. It just is. So I'm going to basically say these things to be able to basically show up differently in the statement that I was going to make, and then I'm going to make my statement. So one of the words that I had gotten was coercion. It says, stand firm in your choices and seek support to resist coercion. Your decisions are yours alone. Then I basically seen refusing to listen. Encourage active listening and express your need to be heard and understood. Lack of support. Surround yourself with people who support and uplift you. Seek encouragement outside of the relationship if necessary. Pressure to change. Embrace your authentic self. Change should come from within, not from external pressures. I basically pulled these cards because I wanted to be at a rate to where I had more body in what it was that I knew the Spirit was basically pulling out of me, recognizing the rate of experience that we get to be in on our journey within oneself. I shared yesterday about how to start to basically age yourself in, retrieving your inner child, or acknowledging if you are in connection with your inner child. And the one thing that I wanted to basically be in the midst of basically just being very loud and vocal about it is knowing that you're never really absent from. You just have to basically retrieve awareness of all of these spaces where you've allowed yourself to sit in these fragmented kind of like when you're sitting in fragmentation, you have to get to a rate to where you basically are in recognition of your wholeness. So it's like the awareness of remembering. Sometimes it does require, or you have the opportunity to use tools. However, being at a rate to where you're just understanding beyond your perception, that you get to basically be at this rate of calling back to, by remembering and having this state of constant awareness of and constantly petitioning for. The inner child really comes in at a rate depending on what and how you've basically cycled through your journey of reparenting. And when you show up reparenting, a lot of the times it shows at a rate to where you sit with certain fears, and fear isn't something to basically be fully casted out because it's been something that's kept you for so long. However, when you recognize that a lot of the times fear basically operates in the survival brain of it all, confirmation, excuse me, y'all. Sometimes it doesn't really allow you to get beyond the huge emotions, because a lot of the times the fear will basically come online when it is, anything unpleasant, and a lot of the times when it shows up, it's causing you to basically fight, freeze, to numb, to appease, disassociate from, right? And when you recognize that you're dealing with your inner child, and being at this rate to where you're trying to operate at a space where you're moving beyond limiting beliefs, because that's what the whole thing is. The statement, the message is about. You have these opportunities to basically soothe you at a rate to where it's not numbing, but it's acknowledging by allowing without judgment, because you allow yourself to be at this rate of listening and not forcing, supporting, but not pressuring to alter or change because of whatever the circumstance is, right? Being at a rate to where we recognize that protection comes in so many different forms if we allow ourselves to be in participation of it. On my journey when I first started, there were so many people around me at so many different levels, 646. And it was always this thing of being perceived at a different rate, because what I had in me was always present and there with me, but I hadn't really fully ascertained it. We could go through the whole process of seeing what other people were doing, magic, whatever, spell work or whatever, right? But the realization is in, I don't know why I was wanting to say crystallization basically has many altered levels and layers. And when you basically get to the rate of perception in which you're supposed to perceive your rate, your level, it's meant for you. It's not always at a specific rate. And I think that that's the song, when you believe, it's the rate of understanding that miracles are happening. However, they might not necessarily come exactly when you ask for them, because it might not necessarily be the divine timing. But it's not meant for you to be at this rate of never thinking that it'll happen. Sometimes there's this journey on your journey where you're basically in co-creation with spirit, where you're learning how to weave in certain rays of faith that align to, big bodies of hope, not necessarily sitting in that hope, but recognizing that it gets to live and exist around you. And you never have to be downcast, because you do a constant tending within yourself, because that's what I feel like the inner child journey is about. It's about tending to things that you may have refused to listen to, because you may have been at race of being coerced in spaces where you had lack of support, believing that you needed to change or alter yourself because you weren't really comfortable being at this bold rate of transitioning. And knowing that you're at this rate of transformation, because as a lot of you are, right? There's this awakening and this blooming that's happening that allows you to align with what has always been present and constantly being perceived by others, which is why you always have all of this energy on you anyways. Be at the rate to where you recognize that it's in your walk, it's in the way that you show up consistently. It may not necessarily grant you the proof that you desire right at that minute, at that divine time. It'll be made and meant for the spaces. Like, spirit be cooking too, y'all. And it's like the things that's happening behind curtains sometimes be so much bigger than the steps that you're having to take. But these steps feel like big steps, especially if you're moving out of the rate of fear, right? So align to the rate to where you know that your belief doesn't have to be limited based off of your circumstances or previous experiences. It gets to be aligned to the rate of divine truth that you find within, okay? I love you. I hope this message finds you well when you need it. Take it back to yourself in spirit. Meditate on it and see if there's anything that you could basically perceive at a deeper rate here. Have a dope day. Peace.